All right, close enough. Close enough of a landing. Hey,
Awesome.
everybody. It's Friday, December 19th, 2025. We're just that much closer to the Christmas holiday.
Mm-hmm.
But the holiday season's going on right now, right? Lots of winter holidays.
Holiday parties and
Yeah.
all those kind of things. Yeah.
Yeah, I think is it the first night of Hanukkah was just a couple nights ago?
We are definitely in I'm not sure which night we're in, but it's past the first one, I believe.
Yeah, December 15th, I guess. Through
wow.
December
Okay.
22nd. So yeah,
Monday.
all the holidays hitting now. That's what it's
Mhm.
about. Well, hey, thank you everybody for
Yes.
joining us. It's a Dev Talk show. If you've been here the last several episodes, we've been working with MonoGame and building a simple 2D game. And hopefully it helps you get started. I think what we're really doing is we're reliving my very first Philly.net talk, which was to teach people X and A. And the target was building games for Windows Phone, although you could take them anywhere. You could take them to, at that time, you could take it to Xbox 360. You could do a lot of cool stuff. And so as we're going through this, I think as I look at the code my past self wrote, I go, oh my gosh, this is not great. So future episodes will be focused on maybe organization of game code, where definitely this talk was about, like, let's focus on getting things on the screen. How do you control them? How do you update your game? And so we're just like living in the game class, right? But
Yes.
we have, yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry, Rich. I didn't mean to.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I'm following along.
Yeah, and so we have a little bit of a short episode this morning, so I think we're just going to get moving. Where we left off was let's see this game to pop up here. It always pops up on my actual main screen. Is we have this game with our little main character who will bounce off this trampoline and hit those balloons. And as long as I can play the game reasonably well without him hitting the ground, when he hits the balloons, they disappear. And if you're looking really closely, you can see that there's this very, very minor balloon animation where the string should appear to be like floating, or not floating, but like moving, as if the balloon is like maybe floating in the wind or something, I guess. There would be some very interesting ways to and then obviously in our sample, when you hit the ground, he just bounces. We'll have to implement a loss of turn features a little bit later. What's really neat about modern gaming compared to like the original version of this, or sort of version of this, called Circus Atari, is that we could do some things that would have been very difficult for those developers, I think, just because they had such limited resources. Is in order to make those balloons look like they're actually floating around with that little animation, we could probably have them like jiggle slightly and do all kinds of really interesting things. So let's get moving. Yeah.
And we were using the sprites to kind of do that. So we would just have some more sprites that have different orientations or different locations inside of the space that they're assigned in that sprite image.
Well, what I'm thinking is, I mean, again, this is a pretty simple game. We're not going to do this today, so I don't know if I shouldn't focus on it. When we did this last time, you have to look really closely, but you can see that this string doesn't quite match this one, and it's meant to make it look like it's like the string itself is waving. Mm-hmm. And so every frame, what is happening is it is choosing between this rectangle and this rectangle. It's actually deciding, do I want to render this or do I want to render this? And that's what the balloon class is doing with that very, very crude update animation method.
Right.
Is it's just asking itself, has it been long enough for me to switch from this one to this one? That's all it's doing.
Okay.
What I think we could do is it would be very possible for us to implement in our update some kind of random jitter to the balloon to like make it float and move back and forth, but still kind of stay in its area. I don't know. Maybe we shouldn't dwell on that too much. What I would like to do today is every time we hit a balloon, we are not hearing a pop.
Okay.
So for that to happen, and hopefully this is going to play very quickly, but hopefully we all hear it. I'm going to be quiet and play a popping sound. I don't know that it's actually playing. It might not actually be playing. Okay. And I think I know the reason why, because we were just playing with audio issues this morning. Why don't we just import it into the game?
Okay.
And let's see what happens next. So in order to import, I need the content manager.
Yeah.
I'm going to double click on content.mgcb, which just brings it up if you're in Visual Studio. If you're not in Visual Studio Code extension offers you a command. And plus, you can just run it from the command line. It's actually just a .NET tool. So let me say add existing item. And I think, as we know, I have to go to the actual folder where I've got these assets laid out right now on my machine anyway. Oh, that didn't do what I wanted. I just want, what if I copy it as path and maybe put it down here? There we go. That's what I'm looking for. It's going to always ask, hey, should I copy this file over? I'm going to say yes. So now we've only been putting images in, but the content pipeline has default support for many file types, and one of them is a WAV file.
Okay.
There are others, like MP3s are supported. I even want to say maybe OGs, but I don't remember for sure on that one. So it knows what to do with this. It knows down here in the properties, this is a sound, and that it's going to use the WAV importer. And I've said this before, but what's really cool about MonoGame is that you can write your own importers and processors. So some people do this to like, maybe they'll come up with their own file format for levels, like mapping out levels.
Yeah.
And they'll create their own importer and their own processor. And it's actually really cool. So I need to save this, and then I need to build it. And we're going to see that it built pop.wave. And in fact, if we were really paying close attention, we'd see that got added to the object output here for the desktop GL type game, which is the one we chose. We chose the MonoGame project that's OpenGL based, and it's cross-platform. It works in Windows, Mac, and Linux. So now that I've done that, you may be able to guess, based on all the texture work we've done, you may be able to guess what we have to do to get it into our game. At least partially guess. So in order to bring a texture or a graphic, we needed a place to hold it, right?
Yeah.
So
we'll create another private variable, but I'm guessing that would be an audio.
Yeah. So there's multiple audio types in XNA, and they give us XNA framework.audio namespace gives us sound effect.
Cool.
And I'm just going to call it pop. And let's see. I even think audio got added for us here. If it wasn't there already, it might have been there already. So then, now that we've done something here in the game class, now we need to go to one of our 4 game methods, and we'll go to load content. And you'll be surprised. In fact, even Copilot here says, I know what to do. That's precisely what it is we use the generic method load, saying what type we want to load. It was called pop, gets loaded into pop. That's it. It's ready to go. The question now is, when do we play it?
Right.
So in our update method, it's starting to get a little bit long and messy, but I think it's pretty straightforward in that we grab the keyboard state, we grab the gamepad state. We if we haven't started the game yet, we position the trampoline in its start spot, and we're waiting for somebody to start the game with this. And this is where when we work on updating it, we'll have some, I think there will be some really good ideas to make this less of a spaghetti function and more of a game state machine. But as we go down, we're doing things. We're updating the clown. We're checking boundaries. Did it hit the ground? Did it hit the trampoline? Did it hit the balloons?
Mm-hmm.
So if the clown rectangle intersects with a balloon, you can see I already kind of have the code in here commented out. Then we remove the balloon from the list of balloons. Then the draw method won't draw it anymore because it's been removed. We basically reflect the clown's velocity vector, and I already have the answer here. We just call one cool, simple method, which has overloads to control it.
Okay.
And you can just play a sound. This is the simplest way to play sound in XNA.
Okay.
If you talk to audio specialists that worked on games before modern game engines like Unity, and when I say modern, open, publicly available game engines like Unity, Unreal, MonoGame, stuff like that. I actually knew one in the late 90s who said like, oh yeah, you have to write code to take the sound you want to play and mix it into the audio mix of what's playing now. Like,
oh wow,
you had to have your own internal software mixer because, in fact, games existed even before sound cards. So writing that code for like the NES and the Atari 2600, I think the NES might have had a mixer, although I don't know NES code all that well. The Atari 2600, I mean, we were talking about giants among humans who wrote those games. But here in XNA, the simplest way to play a sound is to simply say play. And it even tells you here in this, it even tells you right here, it says that sound effect instances are pooled. So basically, it's basically telling you, I'll take care of it.
Right.
Which
right.
is cool.
You're in a managed world now. We got
it. If you want, you can take more control, but I don't know that it's even really that necessary. I can't think of a good example. So now that I've done that, this is something we were working on and why we started. We're hoping that you'll hear this sound. We're hoping I'm good enough to play the game to hit one of these balloons. Let's find out.
Huh?
All right. So now every time he hits a balloon, we're getting a pop sound. So perfect, right?
Nice.
Let's move on to, I don't know that I have any other sounds really. So let's move on to the next item, which is I want to keep score in this game.
Okay.
So keeping score, when you had to write game engines back with DOS or before MonoGame, this isn't the Windows world, or I mean, if you're old enough to have written Windows 3.1 or 95 programs, you had this whole set of controls there for you to build up dialog boxes. And you would just like, if you wanted to write some text, you just create a label, put it somewhere, and then you'd set the text value of the label and you were done. And that was sweet. And in games, it was like, no, you're going to have to write your own text rendering engine. And if you want to support multiple fonts, you're going to have to figure out how you want that engine to do that. One of the first engines I ever, there's no way this would ever, was called FastGraph, and it was for DOS, but it also had font rendering capability. That was a really cool engine. So XNA thankfully makes this easy. What we're going to do, and for our example here today, and I will give, as I accidentally closed the content editor, so I'm going to reopen it, is we've been doing add existing item this whole time. We're going to do add new item. We're going to create what's called a sprite font description. We're not actually creating a sprite font, or we're not actually creating a font. I mean, we're describing a true type font on our system that we want XNA MonoGame to render for us.
Okay.
So I'll say create, and then you get this file.sprite font thing, which I don't particularly want it to be called file. So I'm going to rename it to just font. Maybe we'll call it score font. Actually, you know what? Let's call it score font, only because I want it to be clear that you don't have to call it font. You could call it anything you want. This could be text. It could be, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what's called. So that didn't create anything that seemed all that impressive. Like, what did it do? I don't know. But if we head over to here, this sprite font file that's sitting in, I probably, do I want this one that's in the object? Yeah, this is what I want. So in the content folder, file.sprite font, you get an XML file. And what you do is you come in here and you pick the font on your system that you want to use. You just pick it.
Okay.
And then you pick the size. You can pick spacing. You can pick whether you want kerning to be in it. Do you want it to be the regular version, the bold version? I think I'll make it like Arial bold. And then you even say, how many letters do you want available in the font? what they do by default is they only go from the ASCII space to basically to just cover like the basics. But if you don't even need all of this, if you only need letters or numbers, you can narrow this. And the point of it is that it will only compile the characters that you actually need into the font. So I've just chosen Arial, and I'll talk, and I want to save it, but then I need to go back here and process this. I'm going to save it. I'm going to build the file. It says, yep, I built file.sprite font. Oh, I changed the name of it, even though I didn't change the file name. That's okay. That should be fine. One note that I want to make really quickly to people is that TrueType fonts are not all free. They're not all public domain. Arial is not a public domain font. So I would not want to ship this game. For me to just demonstrate and talk and use on my own machine is no big deal. But I wouldn't want to ship this game. I'd want to go get a TrueType font that either I own or I've bought or that is maybe free, install it onto my Windows system, set that using the sprite font file, build your application, and that's what you can ship.
Gotcha. So you're actually packaging, when you do this, you're actually packaging it up. It's not like, hey, look on the host system for this file or for this font type and use it for the game or some related variant of it.
So I'm about 99% sure that's all correct, is that you don't have to actually ship the TrueType font, install it on their system. I'll have to refresh my memory and just be absolutely certain, because I think that's true, because I think this bin folder is the content that's going to ship with your game, and here's scorefont.xnb like kind of waiting for you.
Yeah.
So
yeah, because I see that content dialogue that you keep popping up as being analogous to going to the project file and saying, hey, this is an output file, and here's where you need to place it, right? It's a GUI to do that.
It's exactly what it is. That's exactly it. It's a GUI to take your content from its raw form into a processed form. It doesn't necessarily have to be highly processed. If you create your own importers, you really don't, there's no reason you have to do anything more than just take your file format and drag it across. But what this system allows you to do is write a processor, write an importer. So maybe you do want it to go from some sort of object form that's more descriptive to a very tight binary form that's nice and small. That might matter to you. So, so it's cool to know that it's there. So anyways, we've set all this stuff up. Now, just like everything else in XNA, here we are. We've got about 20 minutes to go, so I think we're okay. Just like everything else in XNA, you can probably guess how we do this, even if you don't know the exact, you might not know the exact instance or class that XNA provides us. We're going to say private sprite font. And so sprite font is built right in. It's an XNA framework graphics. And I'm going to call it score font, because that's just because you don't have to. I could call it anything I wanted. We're going to go to content. We're going to go to our load content, and I'll bet you IntelliSense is going to know exactly what to do. And it's correct. Did I change the name of it to lowercase? Did I lowercase it? Yeah, I don't actually know if that lowercasing is going to blow up, but I'm going to go ahead and just do all lowercase. We could maybe test this out and see how tolerant it is of you changing the names. So I have now imported the score font, which is cool. And that's pretty much it. We're ready to go. It's easy to use, just like the sound effect was. The question is, where do we do this? So one thing we're going to do that we haven't done yet is, back in our update method, I have some commented out code to keep score. So what this score does is it basically says, it's basically asking what was the color of the balloon that you intersected with. And the colors are actually 0, 1, or 2. So if it's 0, you're going to get 10 points. If it's 1, you're going to get 20 points. And if it's the top one, the top row, you're going to get 30 points. Kind of a hacky way to figure it out. We could write code to be more direct about, like, well, which color, because maybe you might want to have some levels. You might want to change the layout of the balloons, which is something we could do that Circus Atari did not do. Maybe you put them in different patterns. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I already had this code commented out, but we don't have a score. We don't have that. So we're going to need to add that to our game. and probably, well, first of all, we're going to just put a score. Let's just put it up here in our game class. Say, and I'm even going to initialize it. So int score equals 0. And then we've already got the balloon code updated to change the score when it's actually hit. That's fine. So now there's really just one thing left to do, and it's to draw the score. So here in our draw method, we're drawing the clown, we're drawing the trampoline, we're drawing the balloons. Now we will, you do this as part of a sprite batch. It's part of, in fact, look at it. It's like, I know what to do. It's mostly correct. It's pretty much exactly what I want. Is it saying, as part of a sprite batch, you use another method called drawString.
Okay.
And to say I want to draw a string out to the screen, you tell it what font you want to use, and then you supply the string, which I'm using. I'm just using string addition here to take the score, turn it to a string, put the word score, and it's putting it very high upper left-hand corner. That's going to be covered by the balloons. So let's this is, I mean, we'll have to think about how our screen layout really wants to work. But because I was just demoing this for people who are new to game development, you're going to see that this is going to be sitting kind of in the middle of the screen, sort of in the way.
Yeah.
So that, I think, is it. And so now when I bring the game back, you can see we've got a little score meter here. I can make it bigger. And right, as we hit balloons, it goes up. It looks like I might even have that calculation backwards, where the higher ones are worth less. So it looks like I have that calculation backwards. But whatever, it's doing what we want. The bottom ones are counting for 30. The middle ones are counting for 20. So, we could fix that. But doing what we want. We're getting our popping sound. We're getting score. One thing that I am going to do, I'm going to make that just slightly larger. In fact, I think 16 might be fine. Now, here's the thing. Just to show, if I just simply run the game after changing the size in the sprite font file, we're going to see it didn't change the score. And I'm sure you can guess why.
Mm-hmm.
Because
we run the content. Yeah,
exactly. See, what I love about this is, like, after a while, you start to it's obvious what you have to do. It's like, hey, look at you. You're a game developer, right?
I know, right?
Hey, you know how to do all this stuff. So now we've run the content management build, and this actually didn't get any larger. So let me think about why that is. Why I thought files.sprite font is here. We changed it to 16. We made it bold. We saved it. I came back over here and I said, build action is build. It said it was building it. So, is it because I have to rebuild the solution? Maybe, I don't know. That might be it. Let's find out. If not, we'll just move on. I don't want to dwell on it too much. But I would have liked for that to have been larger. I'm not going to dwell on it right now. That's funny because I thought that was going to be a piece of cake update. Okay, so we know we can keep score. Now, something else we could do since we're here is, how you have to press the space bar to start the game right now. We're not saying that anywhere. And again, we'll think about how to do this in a nice way in the future. But we're not saying that anywhere. Well, we do have in our game class, we have a detection of whether the game has started or not. We're using this Boolean is game started. So if in our draw method, in the sprite batch, in our draw method, if I come in here, and I could do this anywhere, if I say, if the game hasn't started, and I don't quite have the same exact thing. If the game hasn't started, then let's use the score font to write on the screen, press space to start. Let's just make that easy for the player. And so now we've got press space to start. Now that's going to go away as soon as I start, because we're only drawing that if our internal variable is false. That's the only time we draw this. So that's simple. Next thing we can do is we could play music during the game. We could play some background music. So is that easy to do? Well, I'm sure you can guess where we start. We start by adding an existing item, and it's not going to be in here. You know, we've been dealing with this the whole time that I have another window that's got, we've used a bounce. Okay, so we're going to use an MP3 file this time.
Okay.
So one of the things that we're seeing here is you can use lots of different file formats that there is support for. There isn't support for everything. We could look at the documentation and figure out what there's support for, but I'm going to rename this again so it's lowercase. I have this little song that plays. I'm going to see, it might be a little loud. I want to warn everybody that this might be a little loud. I think there might be ways that we could lower its volume though. So we've built it, we've saved it, and we've built it. So we've got it added to our project over here. It got added. And I mean, we've done this a bunch of times, right? So we're going to need yet another built-in XNA thing, but we're going to use song. And the difference between song and sound effect is when you play sound effects, you play them, they're done. With song, you get a little bit, you get some other control. You could say you want it to loop, for example. I'm fine with calling it background music. That's totally fine with me. We're going to do what we do every other time we have content. We're going to go load it, and I'll bet you it figures it out, except that it didn't know that this was called Calliope. That's fine. Background music is now loaded. So now the question is, well, what do we do? And I'm sure you can even guess what method we're going to go work on here.
It would be on the start method, right?
We're going to go to update. We're going to go to update.
Okay.
So in our game loop here, we're going to say when the game starts, we're going to ask ourselves a quick question here. So when somebody clicks the start button, either on the gamepad or the space bar, we're starting the game. So I'm going to put this here. Again, this code is starting to get kind of messy and spaghetti. It'll be interesting to work on it. We're going to say, if the media player is not playing anything right now, then let's play background music. I don't know if this is a bulletproof way to do this, because if something was playing, then it wouldn't start. But in our game, nothing's going to play until somebody hits the space bar. So it should work fine. Now, this can be a little loud. So I want a way to toggle music playback. I want to be able to shut it off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some code right after we presume that anything that gets past here, the game is started. Right. That's our presumption. So let's do this. Let's also say if somebody has pushed the M key, then let's check if music's playing, and if it is, then let's pause it.
Okay.
If the music isn't playing, then we will start it and just set it to repeating again. So I did something a little interesting here.
Okay.
I don't know if you have an idea of why I'm not just doing the simple detection of like, did you press M or not, but why I'm also checking to see if previously M was up. Just curious what you might think.
So you're checking, is the key down and
right.
Is the key up?
Well, I'm checking. So something that I actually, maybe I haven't added this to the code yet, although it is sitting here.
Previous keyboard state. Sorry.
We're getting keyboard state here in keyboard get state, but you know what we're not doing yet? So yes, earlier we created a keyboard state variable, and I just don't think I'm using it.
Right.
To basically say what was the previous keyboard state, right?
Yeah.
And actually, let's see. What I need to do first is we're going to need, okay, so this code's not in the best state. We're just going to create keyboard state. And then we're going to, so you know what? This isn't the place to do it. I'm sorry. This isn't the place to do it. We're going to have to this isn't the place to do it at all. We're going to grab the keyboard state. We're going to use it throughout update. And then the very last thing we're going to do before we leave, oh, I've already done it, is we're going to save previous state. Yeah.
So now that I followed that, I think I can answer
Right.
your question, right?
Yeah, go ahead. Yep.
So we're saying we want to make sure that coming into this loop,
Mm-hmm.
the M key was not pressed previously, and that as part of the events that happen in this loop, the key down event happened on the keyboard. So if
Yes,
I was to
because
hold it, we wouldn't be
uh-huh.
doing anything.
Right, because otherwise the effect that you might get is by the time you press and release the M key, who knows how many frames go by.
Right.
So I think that I also discovered that I had to grab it here too. Otherwise it wouldn't work. It wouldn't do what we wanted. But otherwise what would happen is you'd probably hear the game like the music start stop really fast. Okay. So we blew up. Did I spell calliope wrong? I did. It only had one L. Okay. So let's try that one more time. And let's see if this plays music. All right. So I hit M to pause it. I'm gonna hit M again to start it. So that music's a little on the loud side. I think there are controls in the method to deal with it. I kind of got lucky that I was able to set the trampoline here, and it's just doing okay for now.
It's gonna run out of room.
It's like he's doing great. There he goes. Yeah, eventually he's gonna run out, and then he's just gonna go hit over on left. So we've added sound, we've added music, we've added.
I do have a question about the sound though.
Yeah, go ahead.
Or the music, sorry. So if we look at what you did,
okay,
in the at the part where we do the pausing of the music.
Yes.
There we go. So we've got media state and we've got the media playing, and we're saying media player pause.
Right.
Otherwise, if we're hitting M to kick it back in,
right,
we get to the else block, and then it's a play, but you're having to tell it. So I guess the media player could have multiple songs in there. You gotta specify what one you want to play.
Yes. So the media player gives you methods to play, pause, resume, and stop songs. It also has some other things that are really cool. So I'm basically telling it here, go and play. In fact, play is like it's kind of like a golden hammer method. If there's something playing now, it clears it. And if you had a bunch of songs queued up, it also clears it. It clears the queue, and then it just says, I'm just going to start the song from the beginning, which was fine for what I wanted to do.
Right. But you could use the resume method, right?
I think so. I think I could have done resume, which says resume a pause song, right? And that's funny that's.
I didn't like that.
Oh, it just doesn't. It just says that it has more than one argument. So, which goes to show you that I'm not too experienced with resume. But let's see what we get here. Resume. You know what I think it is that resume is just like you don't need anything because I know what song you're playing.
Yeah.
Right. I know what song you're playing. You chose the song. In this case, in our case, we chose the song back here when somebody started the game. So the song was chosen here. Now it'll actually continue instead of starting over and over.
Right.
And then I don't know that I think the repeating maybe could have been up here, might have been a better spot for it, just to basically say, hey, I'm telling you, media player, that this is our song. I could have given it a list of songs to be like a queue or something. I could have done that. But now let's see. Now instead of it starting over and over with the it should resume. Okay, so I paused it, and now I'll hit M to resume.
Nice.
So it did what you wanted there. So that was a nice little adjustment that we made live. That's cool. And that's the point, right? Is that we can do all of this live, which is really cool. Now there's like a minor thing that we're missing. I mean, we've got like about
a couple minutes left, yeah.
Just a couple minutes. And so I'm going to really fly through this because this isn't hard. And it's also, we're going to add one more existing item, and that existing item, I've got to go get the file name for it again. So this is one of the hokiest things I did Clearly, it must have been time winding down. For all I know, I was sitting at DeVry in Harrisburg, or wherever. I forget. We weren't in Harrisburg. We were in Fort Washington, right?
Yeah.
I must have been sitting there being like, hold on, I want to just get one more thing in here. So I have one more background file that I'm going to bring in. And I forgot to save it. I want to save it. I didn't build it either, did I? So, or maybe I did. Yes, I did actually, because here we go. So let's go bring in this. Let's bring in, where am I? I need, oh, actually, this was a little bit more than I thought it was going to be. Where's the texture? Where's the texture? There it is. So I need a background texture. And then it turns out that I implemented this using a class we haven't even explored yet called animation. So we're going to have to explore this class next time, I think.
Okay.
We'll go down to load content and we'll take our background texture and animation. Boy, I have these three methods together. I wonder what the heck was I doing here? Okay. And so obviously I need a display size. That's very interesting. Where did that come from? What? I'm not even 100% sure what was I doing here. So we need a new class, which means we'll come up here. We're going to say add new item. It's called animation. So I think this was my attempt to start making like an animated sprite class.
Okay.
But I don't necessarily know that it's fantastic. So just to run through it really quickly, you hand it a texture, you tell it how long it stays on a frame, and then you tell it how big the frame widths and heights are, and then it detects, it goes through your texture and it detects, well, how many frames must you have? If you're saying that each frame is 5, then is 100, let's say, and your sprite sheet is 500 wide, well, then I know that you must have 5 of them, and it manages updating that for you.
Okay.
I'm not going to sit here and say that it was great. I think that what we can really do, I believe, is we can probably have a class that handles, we might be able to make an animated sprite class that handles this a little bit more elegantly, but I don't know. We'll have to look through that code. Like I said, it's been a while. So let's see if we can get the background texture going. Where do I need to go? Okay. I need to go all the way down to this function I created, this method I created called update animation. So see, this was my attempt to start having a way to update all animations. So background animation gets updated. And I hope that that's it. I hope that's enough, because then I have to come in here. I come into here and I say, okay, the first thing I want to do is I want to draw this background. And I'm going to ask background animation for its current frame. What part of your sprite sheet do you want me to draw? And the animation class is handling that. But, you know, that might be enough. That might be enough. So if that all works, then we should see some very slight movement of this hand and the trapeze and the nose blinks. I'm going to shut off the music right away too. So yeah, that's all working.
Oh, wow.
So as you can see, I was trying to start heading towards an animation class that the idea would be to make it easy.
Oh, no. I don't know if that was me or Chris. See if he jumps back in. Oh, he's typing a message. Oh, they lost power. Oh, no. Yeah, we've got some heavy rains in the area around here. So losing power is kind of a bad thing, at least from a stream perspective. Let's see. Can I do this? I'm going to get rid of Chris and just make it me. Yeah, so it's funny. You couldn't do that in the chat. It's in our Discord here. But Chris's message was, I guess, just take us out. So We were kind of winding up anyway, but you saw the little animations happen there, and I think that's kind of some of the things we'll get into as we come back to this next week. I know we want to do a few more shows about this and dive into some of the deeper topics, but at least for now, we've gotten pretty much a fully functioning game going on here, which is awesome. And yeah, so Chris is I guess on his mobile able to jump into to comment here, but great stuff so far. We do have the playlist in the chat, and I'll go ahead and drop that back into here for those who might have joined later and be able to share that out. And so feel free to go ahead and check those out. Those are up on our YouTubes, and there's a whole playlist that Chris had put together about that do all of the game development stuff that we're doing. So with that, we'll kind of wrap things up here. Hope that you have a great weekend. We look forward to seeing you all again back here next week on the Dev Talk Show. Thanks.